Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Doctor. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. I hope wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, you're able to take just a moment and enjoy whatever life is offering you as well. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We do offer premium War of the Visions content every single day, and we are trying to hit our goal of 5,000 subscribers, and it's one of the easiest ways to support me. Today, we're going to talk about His Royal Majesty Dario. For those of you who are familiar with it, Dario is going to be released alongside of Vinera, and Vinera is one of the potential banners that could come next week, and he is going to be arguably the strongest MR tank in Global. He is the highest MR rated unit in JP, and it seems like his power level is just, I don't know, really high. He almost feels like a unit that's on that in-between area of UR and MR. Taking a look at his basic information here, he is a wind element user. His primary job is going to be Spellblade, followed by Ninja and Paladin. His primary weapon is Sword, and his equipment is going to be armor, helmets, and accessories. His HP is going to come in at 2300 with an additional 180 HP and HP plus 15%. It's not going to put him above Mont at all. However, he is going to be very tanky, and his primary role is going to be the primary tank. I kind of see him very similarly to Ramzas that are built up very beefy. I see him as like a beefy wind element Ramza when I'm thinking about Dario. He has pretty low TP and AP. He also has pretty mediocre luck. His movement and jump can be enhanced because he does have access to ninja passives, so he's really going to be able to charge in and get into the middle of a fight. The attack plus is not fully relevant because most of his abilities are going to be modified by slashing, by wind, and by magic, right? He's a primary Spellblade. Attack might matter for things like Sub Ninja or Sub Paladin if you're using any of those abilities. However, you're primarily going to be wanting him to use things like Araga Blade or other attacks that are like modified by magic, similar to Taunting Blade as well. His magic is at 158 with an additional 28, and this is kind of the only thing that is really concerning with him. As someone who's using primarily magic to attack, not pushing past 200 magic is a little concerning to me, and I recognize that he is a tank and he is not going to be the type of unit that's supposed to go in and deal damage. This does make me hesitate though, and I think this is going to be really the difference between Dario and Ramza. Ramza's going to have more damage potential, while Dario's going to be more tanking oriented, but can also deal damage as long as you pair him against the right opponent. His master ability is going to give him defense and spirit plus 10, which is ridiculous. His ability board also gives him an additional defense 4. So keep in mind as we're going through here, his defense is already at 14 and his spirit is at 10. He has slashing and missile resistance plus 10%, which are the two that you really want right now. Not only that, most tanks have this and they don't have the magical resistance. Usually they're weak to magic. Dario has 5% magic resistance, so he's going to be very viable in the current meta. He is weak to ice, so if you see a Victoria, if you see a Medina, you're going to need to stay away. However, he's very strong against earth, and he has that damage modification against earth as well, and this is really where he comes in and where I think he can deal some serious damage or be really important in the future meta. We do have lots of Monts still hanging around. He's going to be able to get his damage modification on Mont. We also have a lot of Kilfes that are going to be coming in the near future, who is an Earth offensive magic user. He's going to be very good at countering her. Not only is he going to have resistance to her magic attacks, he's also going to get that additional 15% Earth resistance, 5% magic resistance, and he's going to be able to deal more damage against her. He's going to be a very powerful counter to her, and arguably, he might be more powerful against Kilfe than, say, I mean, probably even than Engelbert, I bet, because he has that advantage, he has that type advantage, and he has the innate magical resistance. The only thing that's a real drawback with him, though, is his TMR. Attack 60, Magic 112, HP 68. The Radiant Sword is kind of a letdown. You can probably get better stats with a Nagrarok or a Sleep Blade, and probably invest in a TMR for him that's more worthwhile. So I don't see his TMR being used critically. The effective AP gain plus 30% is always really nice. However, I don't see it happening. I see you most likely using Nagrarok or Sleep Blade. Taking a look at his primary job and his primary abilities, one of the most important things to note here is that almost all of his abilities are modified by magic for his primary job, and they are also modified by wind and slashing. So whenever we start talking about a Spellblade or a Magic Swordsman or whatever the hell you want to call this class, you always want to keep in mind that you need to have high magic and that their attacks are modified by slashing and by wind attack. And probably his most powerful abilities here in his primary kit are going to be Magic Barrier, which puts a barrier on yourself to reduce magic damage. So that's going to come in at a 50% reduction of magic attack damage. And Eraga Blade here, anyone who's ever been on the end of a Banishka Blade from Ramza will know how powerful this is. And when we talked about him being really strong against Mont, being really strong against Kilfe, keep in mind that this adds an additional 25% Earth Killer to this attack. So not only is it a 205% magic modified attack, that's with an additional 25% Earth Killer, in addition to the extra damage he's already doing to the Earth element by being Wind element. It's going to absolutely destroy any unit that is an Earth element user. It's going to be almost as powerful as Lucia in doing this. Looking at his Magic Swordsman subjob, he gets Magic Resist for the party, which is an AoE, Magic Resistance plus 38%. This is pretty powerful. It lasts 3 turns, and I'm not sure in the meta right now this is something we're going to need. However, in the future, when we start seeing Kilfes in the group, when we start seeing other units, this is going to be very important. He also gets Taunting Blade with Sub-Magic Swordsman, and this is going to be, of course, Magic 121% modification, same as Shuriken, and it's going to give you Hate plus 12. Again, this is going to be an essential ability for him to tank. As it is with most tanks, you could put Vow of Love on him. However, I think with Taunting Blade and the change to hate mechanics, and considering how much movement he has to charge forward into the enemy ranks, I think you actually might not need Vow of Love with him, because I think he'll just charge in and naturally use Taunting Blade. Now, in terms of his cards to run along with his primary jobs, I think you're going to want to pair him with units who are using Tetrasulfid for that wind attack modification. You could use the new Mobius card for that magic up on him. You could also use either of the slashing up cards to help support him. So that's going to be Moraga or Secret Orders. Essentially, you really need to keep in mind slashing modification and wind modification when you're thinking about Dario. Now, looking at his ninja sub-ability, this is where we can always get into a little bit of problems. So, all of his ninja sub-abilities are going to be physical damage attacks. Yes, they're going to be modified by wind and slashing, at least for Shadow Restraint, not for Shuriken. But because they're physical damage attacks, because you're going to be investing in magical buffs for him, they aren't going to be that important to you. You can even see that Kaze is going to be a physical modified attack. If you're going to be using Dario with Ninja Sub, which I would not recommend, you're probably only going to be using it for the ability. It's called Live here, but this is the, oh man. Oh, I can't remember what it's called in Global, but it's the Guaranteed Critical Hit Rate Ninja Technique. And it's going to give you accuracy plus 60 and guaranteed critical hit. Decider of Fate. There we go. I wrote it down because I knew I would forget it. I don't think you're going to be subbing Ninja for this, honestly. I think if you sub Ninja, whether you're doing Arena or PvE on auto, he's going to use attacks like Shuriken because it has longer range than his primary attacks. I think it's really going to mess his AI up. And I think, honestly, you're just going to want to stay away from this. I could see it in a live PvP situation, but really, I don't think we'll be subbing Ninja very often at all. Sub Paladin is probably what you're going to be using the most. This also gives him Taunting Blade. However, you need to recognize that the Taunting Blade from Sub Paladin is physical modification. It's not magical modification. So I think a lot of people don't realize that the Taunting Blades between Paladin and the Taunting Blade of Rune Knight are actually two different abilities with two different modifiers. Oh, this video is just going all over the place, isn't it? Oh, all right. That noise that you just heard was someone following on my Twitch. His Paladin sub also offers Sentinel, which is going to be very important. Blade Bash, again, not too useful. Saint Wall, so put a barrier on yourself to reduce physical damage 3 times. So that's going to be 50% reduction of physical damage. One important call out that I was reading about when I was reading about his abilities for Sub Paladin: do not invest in Divine Grace. If you invest in Divine Grace, he will stay backlined longer, and he's a unit that you want charging forward into the front lines. So, important note here, do not invest in Divine Grace. And if you're looking to use him as a tank, keep in mind that Attract Blade or Taunting Blade is going to be a physical modified attack, and you can see here it takes substantially more AP than the Spellblade version. So honestly, if you're going to be tanking, you probably want him on Spellblade if you want him to take hate more. Otherwise, make sure he's essentially getting enough AP in order to use Taunting Blade. In terms of passives, he gets HP and defense up. You're probably going to be setting this immediately no matter what. He also gets Shadowrunner, which is going to be the quickness and luck plus, and then he gets Shikuchi, which is going to be move 1 and jump 1. He also gets magic attack resistance plus 12 and earth resistance plus 12. This is going to be very powerful whenever we see him fighting against Kilfe. And his counters, Paladin Guard, one of my favorite counters, whenever it procs, it's going to be a 45% reduction in physical damage. Poison Needle, we're just going to throw out the window. Magic Guard, very powerful whenever he's damaged or whenever he's attacked by magic and it procs. It's going to reduce the damage of the magical attack. So he has kind of two forms. He can be both a magical or a physical damage tank. So Paladin Guard and Holy Night Blessing puts him innately at 26 defense with 45% physical damage reduction on proc. Or he could be, he could also go Magic Guard with Earth Resistance for an anti-Kilfe build in the near future. In terms of Espers, I would put Titan or Warmech on him for defense, Siren for slashing resistance, Odin is just always going to be a good all-around Esper for any character, and then of course Behemoth for the slashing attack modifier as well. So let's go over some of the pros and cons of Dario. He has high defensive capability, good HP, he has good offensive subs, so Rune Knight or Paladin, I would recommend Rune Knight. He's Wind Element against Mont and Kilfe. He has innate missile and slash resistance. His master ability provides defense 10, spirit 10. He has good attack modification, especially right now with both wind and slashing, and he has high movement. The cons, his TMR is regrettable. He only has agility 55. He's weak to ice, so that's going to be Medina, Agrius, or Victora currently, or Agrius in the future, I guess. His magic is only 186 compared to Ramza's 268. So he's not going to be able to deal as much damage as Ramza is, which, I mean, he shouldn't. He's not a UR. So I think Dario is essentially a must level, and it will probably be the most powerful MR tank in the game. I think even right now in JP, he's still the most powerful MR tank in the game. So I think if you don't have Mont leveled or you're a new player looking to pull on Vinera's Banner, I think he could be worth investing over Mont. And I think just looking at his kit and kind of seeing how he operates, I could see really great things coming from him. And I have a feeling a lot of people aren't going to use him, and I think that might be their downfall. I think he will be one of the most important units when Kilfe comes out in maybe a month and a half, and I think people are going to be sleeping on him. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I do appreciate it. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. If you are planning to pull on the Vinera or Dario banner, please use my affiliate link. It is one of the easiest ways to support me without actually giving me money directly. You just go to dig.gs/coins and it'll take you to my Amazon coin link. Other than that, make sure you drop a comment down in the YouTube section. Make sure you come check me out on stream. I am going to be streaming tonight from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Pacific time, and I do stream every day except for Mondays and Thursdays. Finally, make sure you come check out our Discord if you either want your account reviewed or anything like that. All of that information happens in our Discord, and we do that on stream. So thank you so much, you guys, and have a great rest of your day.